Hey everyone, welcome back to another Let's Create video with Sarah from the Taylor Art Studio, and today we're going to do a grid drawing. The supplies you're going to need are an image, a white piece of paper, a ruler, a pencil and eraser, and a colored pencil, pen, or marker. Optional materials are things to color with after you're done with your drawing. So I'm going to replicate this image, a picture that I took of my squirrel friend. So we're going to start out by drawing a grid onto the image we want to replicate. So if you wanted to use an image from a magazine, you're going to take a Sharpie marker. It'll be a lot easier to see if you use a Sharpie marker. You're going to use a Sharpie marker and you're going to mark lines down the side and the top of the page. You're going to measure them out so they're even, and this is going to end up giving you a grid. So I made marks every ½ an inch on this picture of a car from a magazine, and then I'm going to draw the lines across, and it'll end up giving me this grid of even squares all the way across the paper. But the picture that I want to replicate today is a picture that I took of a squirrel that hangs out in my garage. So I'm going to measure, so I already gridded the paper itself. I printed it from a computer and I already gridded that up. So now I'm going to make the marks on my blank piece of paper. So sometimes it's easier if you make the marks on both sides of the paper, the top, the bottom, and both of the sides. It'll help you keep your lines nice and straight. So on my blank piece of paper, I made a mark at every inch using my ruler. And I'm gonna do that on the top and bottom and then on the sides. And then I'll use my ruler and really carefully and very lightly draw my grid lines. You wanna draw the grid lines on your blank piece of paper really lightly, because you'll erase them later. The darker you draw them, the harder it's going to be to erase. So now I'm going to number all of my squares on my grid. So down the side of the paper, I marked them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I think it goes to H. And then down the paper, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or however many squares that you have. Now on my blank piece of paper, I have a little bit of a border, some extra room, so I'm just going to take those lines away. I counted the lines and the squares, so I'm going to take away, I had 2 extra lines of squares, so I'm going to go ahead and take one away from the top and one away from the bottom and start right here. So it depends what you want to draw from your picture. So if you want to draw the entire picture, my suggestion would be to start on the very tippy top corner. So the highest point and the furthest point to the left. And then you just start by, you're going to draw exactly what you see in each box. You're going to go slowly box by box, and you're going to draw the shapes and lines that you see in that box. What is really cool about this technique is that by boxing the image off like this, you can use those squares to figure out the direction of the lines, how long the lines should be, how much of that square the shape takes up. So if the shape is more than halfway across the square, or if it's closer to the bottom or the top, you're going to draw exactly what you see. So the reason that I want you to have a colored pencil, marker, or pen with you when you do these drawings is because it can help you just decipher or figure out where within that square the shape is that you're trying to draw. So when I'm doing these, I like to either color or draw lines or something like that within my squares that helps me really see what's going on in there. So right now to draw my squirrel, I'm starting with the highest point on his head, so his ears. And then I'm just gonna keep going box by box, and I'm gonna draw the whole picture of the squirrel and add as much detail as I want. Here is a blown up image of the ear, so the first square that I started with. And you can see kind of where I put those lines, just to give me a better idea where that ear starts. If it's halfway down the square, if it's closer to the right or the left. And then here's some other images, just going square by square and figuring out all the shapes within each square, and then at the end all of it really comes together as opposed to trying to draw the whole picture at once. And there's my squirrel friend. And thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay safe and stay inspired.